Hey guys, welcome to Binge Time. This is a show where we talk about different TV shows and movies. We want to thank everyone for tuning in this episode. This podcast episode is Let's Talk About It, the TV show You. Today we'll be talking about the first season of You. I'm Nevaeh Patrick. I'm Cheyenne Seagraves.
I'm Colton Wise.
And I'm Grayson Crimp. We also want to thank Silver Sky for sponsoring Viridian News.
This episode will have spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, don't watch this podcast episode. Anyways, the first season starts off with Joe Goldberg falling for Guinevere Beck. He stalks her and the people in her life to make sure nothing gets in between them.
I haven't seen it, so I don't really know what to say about it. I'm just here to see if it's something I want to watch.
We're also going to give our opinions on the show and about the characters too, but I haven't seen the whole show, so we're only going to talk about the first season.
I love it. It's my favorite show ever. I watched it like 4 times.
Okay. I really like this show. I haven't seen the third season or fourth season yet, but I've loved it from the first episode.
But this show is like one of my favorite shows that like I've ever seen, just because Joe is so poetic in everything he says, and like everything he says sounds like it's a part of a love note to the person, and like the narration, like he narrates over most of the things that he does in his life. So even if you do end up confused about what's going on, like he explains it in a way that really like captures the show really well, and his character and his aura really complements the show, and it's like my favorite part about it.
He works in this library, or like a bookstore actually, in New York, and it wasn't like his grandpa's or something.
Oh yeah, well Joe is adopted, and like the bookstore was passed down to him through his the person that like raised him.
I thought it was his grandpa.
No, it's not his real grandpa.
Oh.
It's like just Mr. Moon. He like raised Joe from like foster care and everything.
Yeah, and there's like a basement,
yeah.
And Joe falls in love with this girl, Guinevere Beck, and he literally like stalks her on the internet, and then he like goes to her apartment and he stalks her and stuff, and then he like takes off her clothes and like.
Yeah, it's like it starts as like a little crush, and then it becomes into a full-fledged obsession, and then at that point he's like, I want to make sure like no one in your life is destroying you. Well, he kills her boyfriend Benji, and then he kills her friend Peach,
and he never gets caught.
Yeah. And then he ends up killing Guinevere Beck, and he put Guinevere Beck's therapist in jail because
he framed him.
Yeah, he basically framed him like for the murder of Guinevere Beck.
It was cool how he was like stalking without anybody knowing, which isn't very realistic. So cool to see how he got away with it. Like all his stuff, he got away with like all of it.
Yeah. Also, this show has some sexual content in it.
Yes, it's like rated TV MA. So like get permission.
Be advised.
Yeah, or like just watch with caution, or like get an adult for permission. I mean, I think the show is for everybody. That's like one things I like about the show. It's that it could literally be for any person. But yeah, everything is told from his point of view, which is nice, and like you can just see how he like slowly like.
I do kind of wish like it was from other people's point of view. That would be cool. I really I liked Gwen in the beginning. Like I love Gwen in the beginning, but then I didn't like her.
Yeah.
Like towards the end, oh my god, like get over it, babe.
Yeah, it's because Guinevere cheated on Joe with the therapist.
Yeah, with her therapist.
So, and Joe also started going to meetings with her therapist and like basically talking about her, but like undercover, like with a different name.
I think that she messed everything up because she's silly, and that it could have been like amazing if she would have just like been quiet and not cheated.
Yeah.
And like she did find like all his like stalker stuff. Yeah, but like maybe that was just like his love language, you know.
Not you justifying
it. And also, like, whenever he was, like, talking about Candace.
Oh, yeah.
Candace is crazy.
Yeah.
She is.
And it also, like, the first season also goes into, like, it, like, flashes back to, like, his past and to now, and, like, just sees how much it is alike. And you can tell, like, through, like, the entire show, he tries not to repeat himself, or, like, tries not to be, like, his past self. Like, he genuinely wants to move on, but
he's crazy.
Yeah, but it's like he like can't, and it's really hard for him.
And also, like, his grandpa used to like put him in that glass box. That made me sad. Maybe that's why he is the way that he is. And also, Candace messed him up real bad.
It's just like trauma, you know, from the past to like really messed with him, and like the way he handles situations. But I think that's what makes his character unique. And like him being also a murderer, like takes like a lot of people aback, because it's like, dang, like, you know, how did you loving someone to killing someone, you know?
Whenever I like first started watching the show, I did not know that. Like, I just thought he was a stalker. Like,
I didn't know that he would like kill people in it. Like, I didn't know
especially the women that he liked. Like,
yeah, but I feel like it's like once you like watch the whole show and like you get to know him as a character, like, I'm not saying you become desensitized to it, because it's still weird at the end of the day, but it's like you kind of like and understand his character more. Yeah.
You kind of, like, I don't know. Whenever him and Gwen were, like, going through whatever they're going through, I was like, Gwen, you suck. Like, I'm sorry, Joe. You deserve better. But he's literally a killer. And I have to remember that in my mind. Like, he's a killer.
Yeah, he literally kills people. Yeah. That's
and then, whenever, it, like, ends with, like, her, whenever she finds out, like, about all his stuff, all of his stuff, like he kept her clothes and stuff, and Benji's teeth, that was crazy. I was like, why don't you pick up the glass?
Yeah, like, why would you just leave it
exactly there? And then he knew, and then he put her in that glass box, and she was done. She was dead.
No. Well, at first she was trying to act like she was scared of him, and then she was like trying to trick him, like, oh, I love you, let me out. But then it was like, you can't do that after you already like.
And she basically wrote that book saying like it was her therapist, and was like trying to trick him and saying like, oh, we could say this, and then he actually ended up publishing it.
Yeah, like at first she just wrote it as like a decoy to like convince him to let her out, and then once he killed her, he actually published it.
Yeah, that way he would get away with it.
Yeah, that way he would get
How stupid. Like, how stupid are these people? Like, why in the world would she do that?
Yeah, that was pretty
Why
dumb.
would she do that?
Like, she had all that time to think too, and she didn't think about that. Like, she literally was in that box like 24/7.
Maybe like she just thought like, oh, he'll let me out and then I'll kill him and get away.
Yeah,
it was self-defense.
Oh my god, when you talk about the little boy.
Oh my god, Pedro! I hope he's okay.
Pedro, like, there's this little boy named Pedro. He's like one of his
he's his neighbor.
And like Pedro's really has like an abusive family, and like Joe is like, he like gives him books and like just tries to like distract him from the life that he's living, because Joe's been there once, so it's like he can kind of relate to him in a way, and that's like the bond that the characters have.
And Pedro was gonna let her out, but then he was like, never mind.
Yeah, like, I don't want Joe to go, like, you know,
and then because Pedro had killed his stepdad, who was actually the abuser, and then like he did. Oh no, Joe killed
Pedro's stepdad, because he was the one that was abusing the mom and the son. And then at the end, they moved. The mom and the son moved away, which
everything was fine.
So that was good. Like, it's like, and they close another chapter and they open a new one.
Yeah.
At the end of the season.
But I think it's a really good show.
And I really recommend that everyone watch it, because it's literally amazing.
We want to thank everyone for tuning into this episode. Subscribe to listen to more of our episodes. Next episode, we'll be talking about season 2. So tune in next time to hear about that.
What's the time? Binge time!